in this video, I want to talk a little more about the variables and data types. Variables, here we saw one variable of type var, which is a very generic type. So I want to talk about other data types. Let us say we want to get the age of a person. Okay, if you want the age of a person, you would store it in a variable of type, some kind of number, right? So some of the data types that you have are integers, integer, double, float, decimal, and then there's short integer, long integer. There's so many of them, and there is a link given to you that you can look at to understand them a little bit more. But just to keep things really simple, I normally like to use int and double. Int and double are some of the default data types in C#. So integer will be holding a whole number. Double will hold a decimal value like 5.64, something like that. So just remember that. See, this is like I have like 4 lines of comments. So instead of all these, I can just do this. Okay, so if I were to like declare a variable to hold age of a person, the first thing I have to think about it, what am I storing and what am I going to call it? So let us say we want only the whole numbers for age. Then I'm going to pick int space. So that is what I'm storing. And what is the name of the variable? So it's the age of a person. So I can just say age. And then I can say the age is 6. So this kid is 6 years old. This is called as assigning, declaring, and initializing a variable. Okay, so let's declare and initialize another variable. We don't want that. Let us say I want age of person. The second thing I want is let us say I want to store let us say I want to store miles. Okay, not miles. Some kind of salary. If I want to store salary, so that could be in a double. Usually like currency, usually we use decimal. But for this example, let's say like the salary is going to be some kind of a double value. So I would say double salary equal to 64,000.56. I don't know why, but let's keep it that way. Okay, so that is the age of a person, the salary. So we used int and double. You don't always have to initialize a variable. This is called initializing. You're assigning a value. This is called declaring a variable. You don't have to like do them together. You can just say int age is 6 and like be there. That's okay. This is perfectly fine. And then later on, you can give it a value. This guy, you can give it a value here. You can just go and say age equal to 6 here. So the one thing I want you to think about is when you declare the variable, we already said what type it is storing. You don't have to keep saying int age every time. Only the very first time we say that, and after that we just use the variable. Okay, you can change the value of a variable any number of times. So you can say salary equal to 0 here. That's okay. Again, I did not bring the double here again because I already told the compiler salary is going to hold a value of double. And that's enough. Just one, it's a one-time deal. Don't keep saying that. I see students trying to make that mistake. If you say double again here, you will get an error. So it is saying 2744. So it is saying, okay, here. Sorry, it's an unnecessary error. Let's see this one. Local variable named salary is already defined. So don't define it again. That's the error it will give you if you keep on saying double again and again. So only one time you would do that. And after that, you don't keep saying double. You just use the variable name. Like for example, a person, you know that it's a person is a human. You don't call somebody as human Manjula. You just say Manjula, right? So it's like that. You know the person's human. We've established that. We don't have to keep saying that. Okay, so what if I want to store a word? So let us say I have a message like the name, right? So let us say I want to store a name or address. So you will say string address equal to okay. So because it is going to hold something in quotes, that is a string. So anytime you have string, you use the string variable. Okay. So these are some basic variable types that you should be familiar with. So the difference between the var, this var guy, so it doesn't have to be var here. You can actually say string here. That's okay too. The var is a generic variable type. You know, that you just want to like immediately like declare and initialize at the same time. You can call it var. But it is available. So if you want to use it, you can use it. It has some limitations though. Usually the better way of using variables, especially in C#, is to say what type of data it is going to hold. Instead of a var, you can actually say integer or double or string. Usually these are the different types of variables we deal with. There is one more variable called the bool. The bool. So bool is usually is like a binary, true or false. So that is what it decides. Is it true or is it false? Is the condition true or false? Okay. So for example, it can be used as a flag in some situations. So you can say bool color, no, like is underage equal to false. So if you're checking if somebody is underage, you could like say it's true or false. And there could be other things you use to decide this. So in a nutshell, a bool is a true or false flag. Okay. And then to store numbers, you can either use integer for whole numbers or double for decimal values. And for any time you want to like store a word or a sentence or any kind of text, you store it in the variable called string. So these are the basic data types that you need to be familiar with. The other information is also this read line will always return a variable type. Anytime you type anything in the console and you use read line, it is going to be saved as a string. Okay. Hope you found this informative. Thanks.